How's everybody doing today? It's Colton. I got another podcast here, a little short one, just me. Hopefully got a couple coming up. I actually got one this weekend with my cousin TJ. We're going to be talking about his new EP coming out. He's in a band. I'm not going to spoil too much. I got a song that I'm going to put in there a little bit, give you guys kind of a teaser to it. I will say that it is a pretty damn good song. I'll give him that. Other than that, though, what's going on, guys? Today we're going to be drinking a Michelob Ultra. Thanks to my cousin Mitch. He left I want to say like eight beers out of a 12-pack here. I'm going to bust it open with the old lighter. And how's everybody doing? I got a shot. I'm just going to do it. I started off strong. You got Christmas around the corner. Riley and me got some new Christmas pajamas, courtesy of her mom. Mine says, I'm Yeti to party. Yeah. What's going on, everybody? Other than that, though, well, I find myself looking into the Men in Black lately, and I don't know why. Me and my cousin Mitch, actually, when he brought over these Michelob, we actually started looking into some videos and stuff. I found this like real weird hotel one where these guys come in and they're like these real big, broad shoulder, bald, pure white complexion style people. And it's just crazy because growing up, you watch the Men in Black movies. You kind of, get the gist of, what it's about. It's kind of, they're a secret organization that it controls the knowledge and the know-abouts of aliens and extraterrestrials that are not on the planet. So, that's good. So when you look at him, you got Will Smith, you got all that Agent K, yada, yada. You got all that normal-looking dudes. But then you start looking into the M.I.B., the Men in Black, and a lot of people are saying in the cases that they've shown up, they're looking almost like synths, like a synth from like Fallout, like a no emotional face, bald head, pure white skin, no big broad shoulders, real tall, like almost 7 foot tall human being. When they speak, they're real monotone style thing, and they show up to people who need to be silenced, who are talking about or investigating or looking into alien activity, UFO, stuff like that. The M.I.B., I would say, started coming around in like the 1950s, a little after Roswell. And then you actually have several cases of people who came forward and said, well, this happened to me. I seen a UFO. I seen an unidentified flying object. I don't know what this is. And they bring attention to the cause. And then all of a sudden, a couple of days later, they're getting knocks on their door. They open the door to a couple guys in suits who then say, listen, you quit talking about this or shit's going to go down. And then apparently the guys quit talking about it. Or in some cases, they come out and they say, hey, listen, I had some Men in Black style. Well, I had some men show up in black, and I'm sure that's where they kind of got the Men in Black kind of thing. Which, it could be a big, crock of water. But is there a branch of the government that's out there controlling or trying to control aliens or extraterrestrials, even if they do exist, if they don't, yada, yada, whatever? I'm sure there probably is. I'm sure they're not creepy like you see these sketches of them, because there's been sketch artists who have drawn descriptions of these men, and apparently, like I said, the hotel, 2 of them walked into this hotel, and I honestly can't remember the whole story about it, but I know the video surveillance footage, it's real fuzzy, you know what I mean? It could just be 2 real big dudes on a business trip that look identical, like twins, walking in. And, there's this person next to them in the automatic doors that open up, and you can see the size difference, and it's crazy. It was like, man, all right. But is that to say that it's Men in Black? And they were there to talk to somebody about a, well, I don't even know what to call it, like a special encounter, I guess to say. I'm not too sure. Look it up for yourself. Don't really take my word on it. Do I believe in Men in Black? That they're, like I said, yeah, there's probably, our government's probably doing a whole bunch of shit you don't know about. They always are. It's like today I was scrolling through Netflix and they have the Snowden thing on there about Snowden. If you don't know who Snowden is, I suggest go look into it, because he's kind of one of the guys who brought out the CIA and how they were surveilling civilians through like webcams on your laptop, through your phone, through your telephones, listening to stuff like that. He started off as a recruit in the Army and then worked his way through to the CIA and ended up bringing it out. I'm pretty sure he doesn't live in America at the moment. I was watching a podcast. Joe Rogan was talking to somebody who actually lives out in Brazil. Oh, and I'm blanking his name. But he also did a podcast with Snowden. You should go check that out on the Joe Rogan Experience. It is a good podcast. It's definitely crazy to think, like, so if our government can listen in to everything that we know about and we not even realize it for so long, what's it to say that there's not a secret organization out there that is watching in and making sure that, because you got to understand, if they came out on the TV and they were like, hey, everybody, there's 16 different kind of races of aliens out there, and we've been in cohetes with them for a while, and yada, yada, yada. And I feel like there would be a little bit of a mass panic, especially on the religious side of things. I do know the Pope came out, in like 2012 or some shit like that, and he said that they believed in intelligent life not on this planet, which is basically like saying, hey, even though we've said that we're the only motherfuckers out here, God's an alien because he's not from here. Even if he made the planet, he's an alien because he's not from here. He's from somewhere, and to us, as definition, that's an alien. But back on track, if the government can do something like surveillance you without you even realizing it, or have bases that you don't even know about, or will never get to see the inside of like Area 51. What's to say, they're not, like Bob Lazar, he was talking about Sector 7. That brought up aliens, right? Well, so when he walked in and he's seen those flying saucers with the American flags on them, and he's seen the pilot seat that was real small with the, not to say, because he even said he didn't see if it was a real alien or maybe just a dummy that was in the seat to mimic the size. But they were real tiny, and so when he's seen that right there, that almost confirms that there's an agency that deals with aliens, because that agency hired him and brought him in to work on a specific project, which in Bob Lazar's instant was the propulsion of the actual UFO itself, which the way he described it is almost like something that it's creating its own gravity because it would float. It would float. And the more you would get towards it, the more it would like pull you in. Kind of like it's drawing you into its own gravity. That's how they explained it. And when he was talking to Joe Rogan about it on Joe Rogan's podcast, he was talking about how he was a replacement to a scientist who was working on it before. And they never really confirmed that scientist died from the propulsion item, but it was kind of almost implied. Because he died working on the project. But yeah, he would fly out there, he said, for like a week or two at a time, and then he would go home and then come back out there. And, if the government has the means to do something like that, then that already confirms that there's M.I.B, a Men in Black, right? That kind of takes the suspicion away. If you believe in Bob Lazar's story, if you believe that our government is hiding stuff from us, which they should. Anyone that thinks that the government's not hiding something from you, you're dumb, because they're always going to be hiding something from you. When it comes to government and how they treat information, everything's on a need-to-know basis. If the way they see it, if you don't need to know it, you don't need to know it. The president doesn't even have the highest clearance of top secret. Even though he's 5-star general, there's clearances above that. And the reason for that is because he's only in office 4 to 8 years. He's not in office his whole life. He's not dedicating his whole life retiring out of something like some men and women are doing. So that have those top secret clearances. So it's just crazy to think. I heard of a story once. I can't say his name. He was on an Air Force base, and I'm not going to say where or anything like that. No names, but he didn't have a top secret clearance. Now, when you're going into the military, they're going to ask you if you did any drugs, anything like that. And if you're honest, which you should be, if you say that yeah you did drugs, they won't let you get a top secret clearance. You'll just get a secret. Well, that person that told me this, he only had a secret clearance. His friend in the military, I'm not even gonna say what branch. Yeah. Not even gonna say what branch, went into a area that he wasn't allowed because his friend had a top secret clearance. Well, he said it had like barbed wire fence around it. It was a single story on top, and there was 2 guards and then another guard at the door, and the security. So you had to check in to even go inside the front door. And then later that day, he ended up catching up with his friend. They were bullshitting, whatever they're doing. And his friend he's like, yeah, man, that thing goes down. It's an elevator. You go down a couple of stories, and it's all underground right there. And he's like, oh, and they're kind of bullshitting. He's like, well, I can't really tell you, what was down there. And, obviously the other guy's, oh, I understand, it's all secret. You're supposed to keep it a secret, and it's top secret. You're not supposed to really talk about what you see when you walk through there. Because even though you're walking through, not everything in that room is meant for you to look at. There was even things inside of airplanes. You could work on an airplane, but there's multiple devices on there that are top secret clearance, and you're not even supposed to be fucking around by them because you're not supposed to know anything about them. Because if you were to get captured, you would be able to give away the information on that device. So that was kind of the thinking behind that. Basically, what he said is if you don't believe in other life, you're dumb. That's what he told him. He said, listen, just from walking in there, I go in there, that's where he was working, you're dumb. So, and I'm not saying he's right. Maybe he's dumb. Maybe he was blowing smoke up his friend's ass because he honestly can't say anything, because when you sign that contract, you have 50 years of silence. So, maybe he wasn't. I don't know. Just saying stuff, stories I've heard, stuff like that. It's crazy to think. It's crazy to think this Michelob's actually kind of okay right now. I've been drinking a Jack and cola. You say cola or pop? Well, I mean, this brand is cola. But do you say like soda or pop? Let me know. I say pop. If you wanted to know. I'm sure you didn't, but I, figured I'd tell you. Did you guys catch that guzzling? Made it a goal. I think I'm going to try and get sponsored by a beer company. I feel like that would be cool. What if I made my own beer? You know how like people make their own coffee and shit? What if I made my own beer? The Chalkboard beer. Colton's Creations. I don't... My family used to make wine down south. Growing up, my grandpa had a wine building, and every time we'd go down there to visit, I'd go in there and, behind my mom and dad's. Don't tell my mom and dad. He'd let me sip that wine. Called me his personal taste tester, but he would handpick blackberries, and I did it with my dad. Oh, excuse me. I did it with my dad as well, and I can make the wine, and I'm actually thinking about making it. I think that'd be cool. Would you guys like to see me make some homemade wine? It takes about 30 days, kind of film the progress, then we could try it on the channel. But obviously can't go handpick blackberries around here. But I guess next summer I could always go down to Kentucky and get some blackberries. But maybe I'll just go buy some blackberries. We'll try making some homemade wine. I mean, not try. I will. I'll make some good homemade wine. I promise you that. Well, anything. I mean, I can just say it's good. You guys really aren't gonna know if it is or not. So get some people to taste it or something. I don't know. It was just thought. Me and Riley were looking at buses today too. I feel like that's kind of how these solo podcasts knows. I feel like podcast goes. Just talking with everybody who cares to watch. It's 16 minutes in, so I'm sure there's no one watching right now. If you are, what's up? How you doing? Hope you had a good day. Drop a like, drop a comment down below. Let me know. Let me know if you're drinking a beer or something like that. But yeah, no, like I was saying, my family down south, they made wine. I was like the taste tester. It was good though. I always felt like it was stronger than normal wine. But then again, I've never really drank a lot of wine personally other than that wine. So I really don't even think I could be the one to say that. Yeah, not really. But that was always a cool environment. You go down there, they were doing, he had a little moonshine still out of a pressure cooker. And it was funny because it was like a 5-gallon pressure cooker. And the copper coil ran out the top. And it spiraled down into a 5-gallon bucket, and it, the little metal stem poked out the bottom of the 5-gallon bucket, and inside the 5-gallon bucket, where that was sitting in the sink, by the way, because it was such a small little still, he could do it in his kitchen. But you would put the ice, and then you would keep putting cold water in it, because the faucet's right there. You keep it cold, and at the bottom, it would drip. So you had to keep the bucket levitated about like 5 to 6 inches off the bottom of the sink, so then you could fit the mason jars under there and let it just slowly drip into the mason jar. But that's how they made the moonshine, which was always interesting to see as a kid. It was definitely like when I went to Kentucky. It was a whole nother environment from being up by a city. You're able to just walk out the back door and shoot a gun. You can skinny dip whenever you want in the daylight. When you're living in the boondocks, as Riley calls it, bumfuck Egypt. It's peaceful. Don't hear a lot of cop sirens. It was cool. Making the wine and the moonshine, and I didn't make any of the moonshine. I just seen that growing up. I know my grandma and grandpa did a lot of canning. Let me know if you can nowadays. I don't think a lot of people do anymore. Well, me and Riley were talking about doing it next year when we do the whole garden thing. We want to do after we put the fence up. We want to do a nice garden, get some fresh vegetables. And I mean, if we're going to be growing usually when you always get more vegetables than you need. So if you can, we might as well get some mason jars, try and do some canning. That'd be interesting. Something cool to do. Other than that, though, like I said, this is just a short little podcast. Just kind of me bullshitting. Did a little thing on the Men in Black. I don't really know too much. You look up stuff on the Men in Black, and there's not that much out there about it. So there's, the movies Men in Black, which it isn't really too factual about much. But there was comics released in the 1990s. That comics, they did one series of 4 to 6 comics. They did another series in 1991 in March on 8 editions. And then Men in Black's Marvel, because Marvel ended up buying the company that bought the original company that did the Men in Black comics. So the Men in Black comics came out, which had great covers, by the way. If you want to look up a good comic book with some good covers, look up the 1990 and 1991 Men in Black editions. There should be 10 to 12 in total. And they got bought out by a company. Then that company got bought out by Marvel. So technically Men in Black is a Marvel thing now. So wouldn't that be interesting if Marvel threw a twist on Men in Black, made a new Men in Black movie by Marvel? Would it be good, or would it drag on for way too long? That's the question I'm going to leave it on. You know what? I can't leave it on a question. I got to finish this beer, don't I? Do I have a shot? I already took my shot. All right, well, cheers if you got a beer. Let's take a good drink, and I hope you guys had a good day. I'm going to end it on this.